What's going on? I think we're live. Let's see if we're live. We are live, actually. Amazing. Just thought I'd do a very quick Q&A session. Ask me anything. Got a bit busy today, so didn't quite manage to do that full normal Thursday live, but at least there's something. Tomorrow we have our, well, not tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. We have practice for the second Finnish National, which is on Saturday. Car is ready. On the Monday after World's Warmup, I rebuilt this baby, and now it's ready for the second Finnish National. It is at a really nice track, the Vasa track. I use it in some of my setup videos. So, okay, let's get some questions going. I think hopefully I remembered to post for questions on Instagram. Okay, I have some Instagram questions. You can post questions in chat. Super chat, definitely get a response. Love those super chats. Make $5. How has the day gone for JQ? Man, it's been an emotional day, a drama-filled day, but still here. Recorded podcast also, pretty good. Barry Baker came on. Schmerschmaker came on. There was some good banter. Talked about the world's warm-up. Let's see. Let's go to the beginning here. Okay. Which thong you wear today? I am wearing Björn Borg, Swedish made. Well, probably not. I probably use some cheap child labor somewhere. Björn Borg thong today. How to get more grip in the center of the corner other than roll center? Well, center of the corner. One way would be to lay down your shock. So on the front, if you lay down your shock on the tower, you notice you have more mid-corner steering. On the rear, it's more sort of mid-corner rotation, really, but the rear is gripping also. Also, mid-corner, you have more grip if you run a thinner roll bar. That's another thing. Or then you could also, well, you said roll center, but lowering the arm on the inside 0.5 mil is a minor change to the roll center, but a significant change to the handling of the car because it affects how the forces travel through the arm. So lowering the arm, just 0.5 mil, more grip mid-corner. And last but not least, my favorite, if you want more grip in the center of the corner, run the correct camber. Most of the time, it's less camber. People have a tendency to run more than needed. Okay. That was basically a super chat answer. That should have been a super chat. I had to think about that. That's labor. Is there a Mayako TRoggy in the pipeline? There is, but the pipe is long, and so is the line. I think in the pipeline it's the same thing, but still. Someone else asking about the TRoggy. What the hell kind of people we got here? Jesus. JQ, I watch that engine tuning video all the time to keep it fresh in my mind. Great. That's good. Keep those views rolling in. It's good. I'm glad to hear that engine tuning video has been so well received and it's helped so many people. So we should have a lot better running nitro engines at the races here. That's good. Hello from Greece. What do the Greeks always say? Malaka. JQ, any thoughts on Bsing for the rest of the workday? I'm actually going to go to bed here because have to drive 4.5 hours or something to that national for practice. Any emotions to share from the world's warm-up second place? To be honest, surprisingly few emotions at this point. I would say that it is a phenomenal result because anyone was there except very few people who like contenders who would have been contending there. I would say maybe Mayfield, maybe just Mayfield, really. Of course, there are other good drivers too, Fend, Cavalieri, Tebow, all these guys. But I think where they maybe had been in the main, they wouldn't have been there with Ongaro and Ronnefalk. So, yes, this definitely solidified the fact that if I can provide David with what he needs for the World Championships, then he is a strong contender for the win. So I think maybe because of that, I am a bit more excited about the Worlds. I look forward to it. But as a second place, it at the warm-up, it's not like I'm preparing vice championship posters. Vice champion of the World's warm-up club race. Of course, it was the joke at the time, but I know it's almost sounds like I don't know the word. It sounds strange to say, but it doesn't really mean much to me. It's weird to say that, but because if me a few years ago would have been like over the moon, like, oh my god, my car design got second at the world's warm-up. One of the best drivers in the world is driving it, performing well. Like me back then would be over the moon. Me now is like it was nothing. Like I haven't really achieved anything yet. It's all about the Euros and the Worlds and winning those races. So it's kind of a weird situation. So it's validation on one hand, but also then realizing that, well, we haven't really done anything yet. Like now we all know we have a chance. Now we have to make it happen. Well, another thing I can say is that working with David has been really enjoyable for me. I was quite worried before we started because not worried about the car performance really, but worried about matching the car to him and what he needs. And also worried about the fact that I didn't have all my what's that saying? All my ducks in a row. I didn't have everything figured out yet because this happened one year earlier than planned. The plan was release Mayako, figure it out. After the first year, sign a top driver. Now, because this sort of opportunity fell in our laps, we were okay. Prepare Mayako. Holy shit, we can sign Ronnefalk. What should we do? Well, go for it. So then sign Ronnefalk, release the car, figure everything out while having Ronnefalk on the team, and then go into year 2. So while my mindset is, I've been doing this for over 20 years, I've not really achieved any of my big goals in racing, as in race results. If I've been doing this for over 20 years with the same goals, not achieving them, I can wait for a year or 2 or 3, right? So I have that patience, but of course we want to go out there and win in the first opportunity, like boom, first race, first win kind of thing. Of course we want that. That's what I'm working for. So I would say that now at this point, the fact that I said I was worried at the beginning, I'm not worried anymore. This race was very good for learning what David needs from the car. I'm not going to get into details today. We can make another video about that later. And also we'll make a video with Max talking about top drivers and their driving styles and what they need from the car. And sort of debunk the myth that a great driver can drive anything. He wins with a shoebox, a brick with wheels. Yeah, if they race against shit drivers, they will. But not if they race against other top drivers. Today, if you're a top driver and you go to a race with other top drivers, you better have your setup nailed and tire choice and everything. Otherwise, it's going to be very hard for you to win. Maybe impossible if 2 other top guys have nailed their setups. So it matters. We're going to talk about that in another video. What was I saying? I was saying, yeah, this race was good for me learning to understand what David needs the car to do so that he can perform at his best. Because he's such a great driver that he will go out there and drive around with a car that's doing something wrong and he will compensate. But he can't perform at his best if he's doing that. So we have to figure out how to make it so he doesn't need to compensate. And this was kind of what I was worried about before the season, that we would end up in a situation where the car is good and he's doing fine, but there's some issue and we don't know how to solve it or what he needs. And we're sort of stressing about that. But now I can see that it's not an issue. Like, we are already close enough to do well at all these big races. David picks up the car, puts it down for free practice, fastest laps, seeding, top 3, top 5, qualifying. He can TQ rounds. We're still trying so many things in qualifying. Like, it's a bit hit or miss. TQ's one round, 12th in the other, 5th in the other, 3rd in the other. Like, it's not consistent, but the speed is there. And yeah, let us know what he wanted after the Worlds. I'll let you know the general things that are not specific for this track. But yeah, so this race was very good for learning what he needs from the car. And we have, or I at least have, a sort of clear direction now for where to go for the next weeks and months leading up to the Worlds. So I really think that we will go there really well prepared, and I think he will be confident going into the race. And yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to the next couple of years here. It's been better than expected, I would say, the first 6 months. That tuning video is very in-depth and clear. Best tuning video I've seen anywhere. Even better than whose? I don't know. Did Rake even make a tuning video? I'm not sure. Idle gap. All about idle gap. Let's get some questions from Instagram. Someone's asking about opinions on new layout for RCGP Round 2. Yes, there's an all-new layout. Well, all new. They have the bridge still. I think the layout looked fun, looked good. We'll have a gate start in the middle of the track going away from you. Yeah, it's going to be exciting. I haven't had time to look forward to RCGP yet, but now that I think about the track, I'm kind of looking forward to it now. So it's going to be fun. I hope a lot of you show support for that series and sign up and watch the race live. How does real life car setup transfer to the 10 scale, 8 scale setup, would you say? Same theories apply. I mean, all the same theories apply. Our requirements are a bit different. And also, we have differences because of packaging. So, how we are able to design cars in ways which they can't design full scale cars. They have a big engine and a gearbox. They have to put that somewhere. We don't really. We can make certain components much smaller than what they do in or what they have in real cars. There's differences because of that, like design constraints. They have, in relation to the size of the car, the wheels are much smaller, and they have the brakes there, and there's a lot of constraints when it comes to how you can do the geometry in the hub. Also, they, for example, in rally, which I think rally cars would be the closest to our off-road cars, they have rules that regulate that they have to use basically the shock is like an upper arm or part of the suspension. McPherson strut, I think they run there. Like they have some rules that limit how they can design the cars. So theory is the same, but execution very different. And what we need from our cars is also different because of the size of the jumps and obstacles we have on our tracks, and also because our shocks are quite primitive compared to full size shocks. Thank you for your videos. I had no idea how to tune when I first got my nitro buggy. I also watched your other teaching videos as well. Jack in Force, on the track, in the track. Great stuff. Thanks. Well, thank you, man. This is like positive 30 minutes in my life. Like, what the hell? Yeah, I try to make my videos so that you can actually learn something from it, and it explains like the basics that you can build on, then build up your understanding. And if you like the YouTube videos, then I definitely recommend the online course, Invisible Speed, because it's a whole bunch of those YouTube videos, basically. I would say maybe even better than the YouTube videos. And we also do lives. So it's also interactive, and there's a Discord channel. The more people we get there, the better. So I hope we can get, what is there, like 150 people maybe now. If we can get a few hundred people in there, I think the Discord channel will be quite active also. And when we have lives, there'll be a lot of good questions and that stuff. Let's see. I'll show you the course. Okay, you should see the course page. So it's 195 euros. You can pay in 2 payments, so 110 per month. There's also a Spanish version that Robert is working on, translating all the videos into Spanish. There's also a basic course that skips the more in-depth setup stuff. It's 80 euros. And yeah, then you can upgrade to the full course from there. So in here we have basic introductory stuff. You can also earn your money back basically with using a affiliate link. Introduction to RC racing, because this starts at the very beginning. You know, if you know nothing about RC, if you're brand new, this can still be good. The basic course, maybe. So all about picking your favorite class, where to find information, where to buy stuff. We'll be adding throughout this year, building on-road, off-road cars, electric nitro, all of that, preparing your equipment. And then all the engine tuning videos and going to the track for the first time, race tuning your engine, driving, jumping lessons, cleaning your car, maintaining your car, radio settings, thoughts on driving and practice and improving your driving, explanation about races, how they are run, how you should prepare for a race, what things you should take into account during race day, then getting faster and improving, so preventive maintenance and good setup adjustments to make, and another look at more advanced radio settings, traveling, which I haven't done yet, improving your race program, attitude and mindset. This is a YouTube video, and these two videos I haven't added yet. I need to add during this year. Then module 10, all the setup stuff in here. So from the basics, from tires, load transfer, pitch and roll centers. Some of these videos are on YouTube, like this checking video, but as you see, it's just one video out of, I don't know how many. All the different roll center stuff. There's a quiz to check your knowledge, to see if you actually remember the stuff, understand the stuff we've gone over. Camber, anti-roll bars, kick up, kingpin inclination, shock springs, shock pistons, all that stuff, diffs, gear ratios, blah, blah, blah. All of that stuff is in here in the course. So this is the same video that was on YouTube also. So yeah, this is the online course. It's not something that's ever going to be finished, really. It's work in progress. You get 1 year access, and if you want to keep on with it, then you just sign up the following year. So that's how that works. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed so far. It's good. I can keep on doing it. We've got enough people in there. Thanks for the knowledge that you share. I wish I knew half of what you know. Good luck tomorrow. Thank you. Man, if you have that course, you can know more than half of what I know. If anything, what would you change with the design of Mayako buggy for the next production model? That's a good question. That's something that we're going to start discussing with our members. So if you are a Mayako member, you will know. And if you aren't, then you just have to guess. But if I could start over, what would I do? I would, you know what I would do? I would make some of the plastic parts lighter. Like, for example, the arms are a bit heavy, I think. I think that I could have made the gearboxes a bit lighter and still kept the same stiffness. I sort of played it safe there. So, and also, I think there are some sharp corners that collect dirt on the gearboxes, which I wish I had made rounder so that it would be easier to clean. So maybe the plastic parts I would have changed a bit. Other than that, can't think of anything now. Someone asked about the course, yeah, about the videos. So after the Euros in July, the first week of July, there's 3 weeks until an RCGP and then another month until the Worlds. So during that July and August, I hope to have the time to plan those videos, film those videos, and edit them. So a bunch of videos should be showing up. Well, the thing is that that's also the time we're preparing for the Worlds. So Worlds is then the 1st of September. So as long as I have filmed the footage, I have everything. Some videos I'm sure I can release during that time, and the rest can then be edited after the Worlds in September and October. So I have the material, And September, October, the big races are over. Then I have time, edit all that stuff, and post them. So that's the plan. So I would say like by the end of October, it should really be not done, because it never will be, but the sort of videos that are listed there but aren't there yet, most of them should be up. What do you think about Agama's inboard shock concept on 8-scale buggies? I think it's interesting. I'm curious to see if they get it to work. I am quite skeptical, but it's good that someone is doing something different. Why do I say that? I say it because the shocks they run are very short, so they change the motion ratio quite a lot. The piston travels at a very low speed, and the way our shocks work, they work by having low speed damping where oil is flowing through and past the piston, and then it packs up, so it locks up, and it packs up because of the speed that the piston travels through the oil. And now they have really lowered that speed, so now the relationship between the low speed damping where the oil is flowing through and past the piston and where it locks up, that relationship is way different. They have really moved that out of the working range that we currently have. So, well, do I think it's impossible to make it work? No. That's why I said I'm curious to see if they can make it work. But what I do know is that if they are just trying conventional pistons and setups, it's not going to work. They have to go in a different direction. I don't know if they are already onto that, but that's what they need to do. How many drivers do you think do drugs for focusing? A few drivers as of late have had some crazy eyes the past few months. Yes, if RC racing was bigger, I think this would be an issue. I really do. Because if there was a lot of money on the line, people would start popping pills more than they are now. I think there are already some people doing some stuff. Adderall is something that I'm curious about, just because it's something that is so commonly talked about as something you take to really help you focus. And yeah, if this was a bigger sport, I think this could be an issue. I know some other funny things, like I remember Chad Bradley. He used to down a beer before, just because the beer would sort of take the edge off, calm him down a bit. That's a funny one. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all if some drivers did take some pills. I wouldn't be surprised. This rumor has been around in the past also. Do I think it's good? No. Have I tried any of that? No. I have downed a beer, but no, I haven't taken any drugs for focusing. We have a super chat. CRC Racing. I'm traveling to the Isle of Cook. I'm traveling to the Isle of Cook, just off the coast of Ireland. I'm going to a track that's a mixture of concrete, astro, and dirt. What tire tread? The dirt was the only good thing there. Concrete, damn. Astro, damn. Dirt, damn. I think on those kind of tracks, haven't the seismic tires been really good? Where there's concrete and astro and dirt and a mixture of surfaces. So probably Seismic should have something. Magma or Scratch, don't know about the compounds, but I have a feeling that they will be good on tracks with varying surfaces like that. How much shit talking normally takes place on the driver stand at the pro level? Well, I haven't made mains lately, so I don't know this new generation, but I know that Robert, he tends to yell and talk and curse and move around. He's an aggressive driver on the driver stand and on the track. So Robert Baccier, 2012 world champ. I know that standing next to Ongaro can be a bit annoying because he runs sticks and he lets go of the stick constantly. So you just hear ding, doing, doing when he's driving. It's kind of annoying. Then who else? There's a guy in Europe, Carlos Duraes, who he basically does the splits when he's on the driver's stand, and he leans forward. So not only is he like invading your space with his feet, but then he also leans forward so you can't see the other side of the track. I think that headsets were great because headsets removed a lot of the screaming and yelling and drama on driver stands. Beer is used in pool games, or it did in the past, to get players relaxed. Okay. Yeah, because it does have that effect. I tried smoking weed before, couldn't tell if it helped. But you didn't care either, probably. Got another super chat. Does sponsorships hurt the marketing aspect of winning a big race and the return on investment? Well, I don't quite understand the question, but if you mean all these sort of contracted customers who are sponsored to buy product, basically they're given a discount, then that's a big issue we have in the industry. We talked about it a bunch. It's self-inflicted, but it's not good for the hobby because it basically is ruining it for the hobby shops. And if you don't have hobby shops, you have less tracks. And if you don't have as many hobby shops, if you don't have as many tracks, you'll have less people in the industry as a whole. So we need hobby shops, we need tracks, we need people to be able to buy locally, or either at the local hobby shop or from a local shop's online shop. We need that to be possible. But when the distributors or car brands themselves offer discounts, there's no margin to include the shop anymore. Maybe the driver is paying about the same as what the shop would. That means all the drivers, even new drivers or relatively new drivers, they just get a discounted deal. They bypass the shop. So obviously you can see the problem here. And then if spare parts are included also, not just the car, then it's a real big problem. Why did this happen? It happened because in the past there were just a few brands, everything worked as intended. Then internet came along, the manufacturers in Taiwan and China, they opened up to started manufacturing for anyone. Like distributors started their own brands. Some Finnish village idiots started their own car brands. So suddenly there were so many car brands, there weren't enough shops for everyone. So then if you had a car brand, you wanted to sell your car, no shop would buy it, you'd start selling direct online. Then you'd start discounting. You're not selling to a shop, you're selling to the end user. Well, sell to at the same price as you would sell to the shop. You make the same money, but everyone now wants to buy your car because it's cheaper, and that's how the established brands who also had cars in shops needed to match the price of these new guys who are giving everyone discounts. So they started giving everyone discounts. So we are essentially killing off the market ourselves. Nice. Then the other part of your question, winning a big race, return on investment. It depends a bit on the brand. I think if Associated wins the 8-scale Worlds now, they're not going to see an increase in the car sales. I don't see that. I think this effect was stronger in the past. Someone would win, boom, everyone would want to buy that car. But it is still very big for the not so established brands. For example, if Mayako would win the Worlds, I think it would make a significant difference. I think if S-Works won the Worlds, I think it would make a significant difference for them. So it depends a bit on who wins, but there is still a return on that. Shameless plug. My hobby shop, JQRacing in Sweden, got Mayako. There we go. How come no one using limited slip diffs anymore? Totrici won the Euros in Reims with 3 Torsen. Yeah, or he used BBF, they were called. So Torsen kind of has worm gears that lock up. BBF was gears with a sort of cone shape on them, and as the diff works, the 4 small gears push out and they're within a casing, and the casing pushes on friction pads. So as the differential starts working, spinning faster, it pushes out the friction plates harder and starts resisting more. So yeah, I don't know why they completely fell out of fashion. Could they still be good? I think so, but would need to invest some serious time in testing. But yeah, I think that there could be a benefit to them, definitely. I don't exactly know why they fell out of fashion. Okay, did we have something more on Instagram? And then I need to go. What tire did you use at the fairing track? Fairing in Austria. RCGP was there, Euros have been there. For the Euros back then, we used Super Soft Enduro. Last time I was there, I used soft Amazonia from Hot Race. I think AKA guys were like on super soft long ways. Double downs. Probably that new tire would work too. Mid-size pin. What beers are better in Austria? I guess. Puntigamer. Puntigamer in Austria was a good beer that they also sold at the track. Does the e-buggy have saddle packs or brick pack? Brick pack. You can run 2S or 1 4S, shorty, long, full size. That's the style. Okay. Anything else? So going racing now. Next week, there's the RCGP. So no live, I think, next week. I think I'll do a Mayako members live before I go to the RCGP. After the RCGP, then it's midsummer. So maybe no live then either. Then the week after that, then we'll have a proper live. And then we're going to talk about top drivers and their driving styles and what they need the car to do for them, how they set their cars up. Yeah, including talking about what we've learned with Ronnefalk. But I think for sure we can talk about Ronnefalk and Ongaro. They have sort of very different styles and specific styles. I don't know if there's another driver that we can talk about without actually having worked with them. But maybe you can post post ideas for us. Do you think the game VRC makes any kind of useful practice at all? Well, Martin Wolanka, if you know Wolanka, he basically was, I mean, he was relatively unknown in real racing, but he was VRC world champion, constantly played that. And then he got more into real RC racing and did really well and almost won a Euros, got second. So maybe it does. When will we have more info about Corsatec? So that's the engine that Ronefalk is running. I believe that should be next month. So in July, I would expect you to have more info. Yeah. VRC is great for stick time, better than not using your remote at all for a month. Bornhorst may be a good one with his switch and improvements. For what? For the Worlds? I need to oil air filters. Let's take some questions while I oil these. Then I have to get to bed. Honestly, what do you think about the Serpent? So I think the Serpent is really good. So Billy Easton designed that, and he's a former world champion, and now just design engineer. He knows what he's doing, and he is capable of driving the car well enough to feel what it's doing. So he combines those two, and he designed a good car. And I agreed with a lot of what he did. That's why, if you have a keen eye, you can see that there are some similarities between Mayako and Serpent. And there are some things that I blatantly ripped off Billy Easton because they were good, you know? So I think that the Serpent is a really good car. In the Mayako, I incorporated, I think, what were really good aspects of the Serpent, but then there's some other things that I just disagreed with on sort of design choices, and that's where it differs. So overall, yeah, I think in the past, I think they are over that now. In the past, they had some diff issues or issues, small gears and having to run very thick oil and that kind of stuff. But I think now they have more normal gear sizes in the diffs. Yeah, should be a good car. What do you think about the Clinic RC oilless air filter? I do not know. I haven't run it. Someone gave one to me to give to Max, and for the longest time it was clipped to that dividing wall in the van in America, so that I would remember to take it and pack it and bring it to Max. And I have no idea where it went. Sorry about that. Sorry, Clinic. So Max never got his filter, so I don't have any first or second hand info on that. So don't know. You knew this one was coming. Will there be a 10 scale Mayako? Absolutely, honestly, I don't know, but not right now anyway. This is how I oil mine. Twin Air Bio liquid power, same as what I use for my dirt bike. Double bag, some filters in there. Pour some oil in. And squeezed. Okay. Can you make a car turn good off power and on power? Or you can choose from the two turning type? No, you can make a car turn good off power and on power. Normally, drivers tend to prefer a car having slightly more steering at one of those points because they tend to do most of their turning either on or off power. If you have a car that turns a lot for both, it can be a bit of a handful to drive, I think. But you can, I mean, there are different changes you make for more off power steering that don't really reduce on power steering. So you can still do that. Also, the car can rotate on power thanks to the rear end. And maybe the front end has good initial grip into corners, turning the car in, then you get on power and the rear end rotates the car. So yeah, I mean, yes, basically you can have a car with both good on power and off power steering. The key is to find a good balance to where you have good steering, good grip, the car is comfortable to drive and matches the preference of the driver. Yes, that's how Isaac also oils his air filters. Then paper towel to finish. Yes, and when you oil the filters day before, then the oil sort of has time to get sticky. Whatever needs to evaporate from the oil evaporates and it gets sticky. Yeah, and then once you get it out to the bag here, then you use some paper towel to dry it off a bit and it's ready to go, ready to assemble. What would you rather have, a car that oversteers or understeers if your setup happens to be off in a main? For me, definitely understeer. For many others, I think for David also, from the FAQ, he probably would prefer a bit of oversteer. That's something that I'm curious about now during this year, to work with David and also work on my own driving and driving feel to where I drive a car that has more steering and see what that can do. So yeah, I think it will always be easier if you have a car that understeers a bit versus oversteers. And for most of us out there, we are going to be faster if we have a car that understeers a bit versus oversteers. Or let's say at the limit. So when tires start wearing out, or if you make a slight mistake, what happens? The car pushes a bit, that will be easier. Let's end on this positive note. Hi JQ, huge fan of the Invisible Speed book. Opened lots of doors for my racing. You had an episode on YouTube where you made mention of HB roll centers as a opposite to other cars. Can you elaborate? Okay, let's elaborate just a bit. So I haven't checked their current car. I assume it's still the same or close to it. But back then they had this situation where the front roll center was quite high and the rear roll center was quite low. And they also had this situation where on high grip, the car would want to flip over. And on low grip, the rear end would want to fishtail. Now, obviously, the top drivers sort of figured this out, but this was what was happening to your weekend warriors out there, and even top drivers at times. And basically, that was the reason, or is the reason. So when you have a high roll center in the front, you remember from the jacking video, the car wants to rise up. Geometry is stiff. There's a force in a corner that lifts the car up. Boom, what happens? The front You turn into a corner, the front lifts up, the car flips over. Higher the grip, the more likely that is to happen. So if you look at tracks, even rough tracks like Eskilstuna in Sweden for the Euros, very high speed, not really high grip, but there were sharp edged bumps. Ronnefalk kept flipping over. Well, that's why, because the front end would rise up, catch a bump, flip over. Or sorry, it would catch a bump, rise up, flip over. Then on loose tracks, the problem there is front end is fine. It has a lot of initial grip, has a lot of steering, a lot of response precision, but then the rear end with the low roll center doesn't. So there's an imbalance where the front is very precise, but the rear end doesn't want to grip. So it turns a bit right, turns a bit left, you start fishtailing. There's an imbalance due to that. So that's probably what this question was about. Yeah. At RCGP, will you tune my engine because you Europeans run silly fuel? So in Italy, if you mean the RCGP in Italy, then we actually can run 25% there. Do you think gas truck class will ever return? I don't think so, but it would be cool. I don't think so because there aren't really trucks that are good for 10 scale gas truck. Now they're all for 8 scale. So there aren't any good tracks for it. We want Mayako e-buggy, sell it. We do, but to get the Mayako e-buggy, you have to be a member because it's still a prototype. So you need to get the membership, then you can get an e-buggy and you can join in the development of the eventual production e-buggy. I would have to ask. I don't. You have to contact someone at RCGP about fuel being available at the event. I think there's a hobby shop there. So find out what the hobby shop is and then work through them. Yeah. Okay, I need to go. Don't forget, invisiblespeed.net, online course, real good. There'll be a few videos here on YouTube also promoting it shortly. I'll see you on there. We'll end on this. Gas Truck Racing is the 3-wheeler racing on RC. 3-wheeler. There you heard it here first. Okay. It's been emotional. Cheers. E-buggy. We can quit e-buggy.